Hello everyone and welcome to my garden. Today we're going to be taking a tour of the greenhouse, which I haven't posted an update on in quite a while, so I thought I would go ahead and do that. So down here I've got two varieties of beets. One is a choga beet, and I've already harvested a few of those, so there's only, looks like just one left. And then I've also got the golden beets in the back row. And behind that is the cucumbers, which I have two different varieties but only 4 plants. I've gotten a few off of it already, but they're still producing, so I'm sure I'll be getting quite a bit more. And then I've got this, which is a Mexican gherkin, and it's kind of all the rage lately. It produces really small, tiny, cute melon looking, they look like little watermelons, but they taste like cucumbers, just slightly sour cucumbers. But I plan on doing some pickling. Right now I've just been eating them fresh or adding them to salads. And then over here I have my jalapenos, and the ones on the left here I fertilized with Organo Bloom, and on the right is Trifecta. And the ones on the right seem to be a lot more green and producing a lot more jalapenos, and the ones on the left, the leaves are a little bit lighter. They're still producing pretty well. But I think Trifecta is working a little bit better. And I wasn't planning on planting any eggplant, but a neighbor gave me a start of his from his garden, and so I decided to go ahead and plant that in the greenhouse since I had some room. He wasn't sure what variety they are, but it looks like they're the big purple globe variety. So I've got a few little guys starting there. So I should have a pretty good harvest of eggplants. And then behind that is some onions that I had extras of. Those are Ailsa Craig, which are supposed to get pretty big, but they're not getting that big here in the greenhouse. So I'm not sure I'll plant those in the greenhouse again. And then in the back corner is a Premier Kale, which I planted. It was really just, I was thinning out some seedlings and I just threw one in the greenhouse to see what would happen, and it ended up taking off. So it's been getting some really big leaves. It hasn't started flowering yet, so I was kind of surprised how well it's doing in the greenhouse. And also this cucamelon, it just grows everywhere, so it's growing all over the shelving of the greenhouse. And then under this cloth I've got my garlic that's curing. It's probably done, but I just haven't brought it in yet. And then on the right here I have 4 different varieties of tomatoes, and they're all determinate. And some of them are getting really tall, which is kind of weird because they're not supposed to, determinants don't get very tall. But this one is probably it's just over 5 feet. So it's about as tall as I am. I have 2 Romas on the right here, and I've already harvested quite a few tomatoes, but there's a lot more that are going to be coming out. And then I've got one that's called Bradley, which is kind of a large tomato, like a beefsteak, and it's very meaty. I was really surprised when I cut into it how meaty it was, so it's really good for putting on hamburgers. So I've picked a few of those. And then on the far left here in the corner is one called Cassidy's Folly, which I got from a seed exchange, and it's a really weird tomato. It's not as strong, it's kind of straggly. And the fruits got a lot of blossom end rot at the beginning of the year, or the beginning of the season, and that's kind of gotten away. I sprayed it with calcium supplement, and that seems to have helped. But it seems like, from what I've read, it's a very common problem with this variety. But it's kind of a cool color. You can see back here, it's got these squiggly stripes of yellow on the tomato, so it's a Roma type tomato, so you probably use it for sauces and stuff like that. And then in front of all the tomatoes I have 4 or 5 marigolds along the corners to keep out unwanted pests, so that apparently is a deterrent for bugs. And so far it seems to be helping, so I haven't really had a bug problem on my tomatoes. And then next to it I've got more peppers. These are some bell peppers, and they're a red variety. I think something north variety, and I've got a couple that are just starting to turn red, but I've already picked only one. But there's a lot more that look like they're going to be ready here before too long. And then the other pepper I have is a purple cayenne. This is the first time I've grown this one, so it's kind of a different, neat variety. And somehow I got a jalapeno stuck in here, so I must have swapped out the seedlings when I planted them. And then this one in the back, though, you can see it's starting to turn red, so I don't know. That's the only one that's doing that. So I don't know if the purple turns to red after a while. So I'll keep an eye on the other ones and see if they do that too, but I don't know if that's supposed to happen or not. And then the last thing I have here is Brussels sprouts. This is another thing that I just planted in here because I had a couple extra starts and I didn't know what to do with them. So they actually were doing a lot better than what the ones in the garden were doing. But the heads aren't really forming. There's one here that seems kind of full, but most of them are really leafy, so I don't know if that's gonna form some better heads or not. And they're both kind of similar. So we'll see. We'll keep growing them and see what happens, and if that works out, then maybe I'll grow those again in the greenhouse next year. So that's it for the greenhouse garden. I hope you enjoyed my update, and stay tuned for more garden videos. Thanks for watching.